The Florida Department of Transportation, District 1, welcomes you to this public hearing for the I-75 Rest Areas Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study. The study was developed in accordance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and related statutes. The FDOT solicits public participation without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Anyone who feels that they have been discriminated against may express their concerns by contacting either the FDOT District 1 office in Bartow or the Tallahassee office of the FDOT. This contact information is also provided in the project brochure and on display at this hearing. Complaint forms are located at the comment table at tonight's hearing. The objective of this PD&E study is to evaluate and document engineering and environmental effects that will help us reach a decision about the type and location of two new rest areas, one northbound site and one southbound site, within this segment of I-75 in Charlotte and Sarasota counties. The study limits of this project begin at the Lee-Charlotte County line and extend northward to the State Road 681 interchange in Sarasota County. As this project is located adjacent to the I-75 limited access right-of-way with no additional access, this project is not included in the Charlotte County Punta Gorda Metropolitan Planning Organization's Long-Range Transportation Plan. In April of 2015, the FDOT closed the Jones Loop Rest Area located at exit 161 in Charlotte County. This facility was an off-system rest area that serviced vehicles in both directions of I-75. This site was underutilized since vehicles were forced to exit the interstate at an interchange to use the rest area. The closure of this facility increased the distance between existing rest area facilities to 105 miles. The American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials guidelines recommend rest areas should be spaced at 1-hour driving intervals. The purpose of FDOT rest areas on the interstate is to provide safe rest stops for the motoring public. Rest areas provide comfort and convenience with restrooms, parking, and vending machines adjacent to the interstate. Rest areas enhance safety by providing a safe place for motorists to stop, reducing driver fatigue. Rest areas can also provide staging areas for emergency response following disasters such as hurricanes. Early in this project's development phase, the department evaluated the entire project corridor to evaluate potential rest area locations. Due to engineering constraints, no new rest areas were evaluated within a 1-mile buffer surrounding existing interchange areas. Areas that included public recreational lands and residential areas were also excluded from further consideration. The corridor and viable sites were screened to minimize impacts to wetlands, floodplains, and listed species habitat. In March of 2016, the department produced a site selection report, which found viable locations for rest areas. This site selection report is available at tonight's hearing. At a public information meeting held on August 2, 2016, we asked for your input on 5 viable alternatives, as well as the no-build alternative. The project team presented the viable rest area build alternatives to the Charlotte County Board of County Commissioners on October 11, 2016. The project team also presented the same material to the Charlotte County Punta Gorda Metropolitan Planning Organization on October 24, 2016. Based on comments received and additional environmental and engineering analysis, we selected the preferred build alternatives of NB2B and SB2. Both of these sites are improved pasture, located south of the Airport Road overpass in Charlotte County. The preferred northbound site, alternative NB2B, is located on the east side of I-75, just south of the Airport Road overpass. This alternative develops an auxiliary lane north of North Jones Loop Road. This lane becomes a single exit-only ramp to the rest area. This single-lane ramp then separates into 2 single-lane ramps. One ramp is for cars and the other ramp is for trucks, trailers, and RVs. Parking for cars is located between I-75 and the rest area building. Parking for trucks, trailers, and RVs is located behind the rest area building. The parking lot for the cars has 107 spaces and 5 ADA accessible spaces. The parking lot for the trucks, trailers, and RVs has 32 spaces and 2 ADA accessible spaces. Upon leaving the rest area, the 2 ramps leading from the separate parking areas converge into a single-lane entrance ramp to I-75. Other than the ramps, no changes to I-75 are required to construct these rest areas. The total right-of-way impact for alternative NB2B is approximately 14.4 acres. The preferred southbound alternative, alternative SB2, is located on the west side of I-75, just south of the Airport Road overpass. This site also consists of open improved pasture. The ramps and parking arrangements are similar to the northbound site. The total right-of-way impact for alternative SB2 is approximately 17.5 acres. The right-of-way estimates for both sites include the areas for site, ponds, and floodplain compensation areas. No residential or business relocations are anticipated with either of the preferred alternatives. As both of the build alternatives will require right-of-way, the FDOT will implement the right-of-way and relocation assistance program in accordance with Florida Statute 339.09 and the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970. Brochures that describe the right-of-way acquisition process are available at tonight's hearing. FDOT right-of-way representatives are also available this evening to assist you and discuss the program. The no-build alternative is also an option and will remain a viable alternative throughout this PD&E study. The no-build alternative assumes no new rest areas would be constructed in this segment of I-75. The advantages of the no-build alternative include no right-of-way, design, or construction costs. The no-build alternative also has no impacts to the natural and human environments. Disadvantages of the no-build alternative include a lengthy gap in rest area facilities and no improvements to combat driver fatigue. The PD&E study evaluated potential environmental effects associated with the preferred build alternatives. As this project is located adjacent to I-75's limited access right-of-way, it is not expected to cause land use changes of adjacent properties. Threatened and endangered species are afforded special protection under the Endangered Species Act of 1973 and Florida statutes. A number of protected wildlife species, including wading birds and wood storks, occur in the vicinity of the recommended alternative. The eastern indigo snake may also occur in the project area. Impacts to these species are expected to be minimal. Special provisions required by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service would be implemented to protect these species during construction. In accordance with Executive Order 11990, Protection of Wetlands, the project team evaluated the project for wetlands involvement. No impacts to natural wetland areas are anticipated. However, the proposed project may impact other surface waters and roadside swales. All reasonable measures to avoid or minimize impacts to wetlands were considered during development of the design concept. Construction techniques that minimize potential wetland impacts will also be recommended. Although not anticipated, if required by regulatory agencies, mitigation meeting Florida statutes and United States Code will be proposed to offset unavoidable impacts. In accordance with Executive Order 11998, Floodplain Management, the study team evaluated the project for potential floodplain involvement. Even though portions of the preferred alternatives are located within the 100-year floodplain, there is no significant change in flood risk. Potential impacts to the 100-year floodplain will be evaluated and permitted with the Southwest Florida Water Management District during the design phase, and floodplain compensation may be provided if required. A water quality impact evaluation was conducted. The proposed stormwater treatment design will include measures to assure that no significant effect to water quality would result from construction of the preferred alternatives. The design will comply with all water quality requirements of the Southwest Florida Water Management District. A noise study was conducted in accordance with the Federal Highway Administration's approved procedures to evaluate potential noise impacts associated with the preferred alternatives. Noise-sensitive sites along the project area are predicted to experience design-year traffic noise levels that approach or exceed noise abatement criteria. A noise barrier was evaluated for one impacted site, but was not found to be a reasonable and feasible abatement measure. If you'd like more information regarding traffic noise, please speak with staff at the Noise Information Table. An air quality assessment was conducted to determine potential impacts resulting from the proposed improvements. The project is located in an area currently designated as being in attainment under the Clean Air Act. Therefore, demonstration of conformity with the state implementation plan is not required for this project. Construction of the proposed project may cause minor short-term air quality effects, like dust from earthwork and smoke from open burning. These effects will be minimal, and the department will adhere to all state regulations. A Level 1 contamination screening was conducted to evaluate potential contamination for the preferred alternatives. The analysis determined that the preferred alternatives do not have any potential environmental risks due to contamination, and no further action is planned. A cultural resources assessment was conducted in accordance with the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966 and Florida statutes. As a result of the assessment, it was determined that the survey area had a low potential for the discovery of archaeological sites. Based on this data, development of the I-75 rest areas will have no effect on any archaeological sites or historic resources, which are listed, determined eligible, or considered potentially eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. Public parks, recreation areas, wildlife and waterfowl refuges, and historic sites are afforded special protection by the federal government under Section 4F of the U.S. Department of Transportation Act of 1966 as amended. There are no potentially eligible Section 4F resources in the vicinity of the preferred alternatives. There is an evaluation matrix on display and included in your handout that shows a detailed comparison of the preferred build alternatives and the no-build alternative. The matrix shows potential effects to the social and natural environments as well as cultural resources. It also identifies preliminary costs. Site alternatives SB2 and NB2B are the least expensive southbound and northbound sites evaluated. The combined estimated costs for both of the preferred sites include: design costs are estimated at $2.6 million. Right-of-way acquisition costs are estimated at $5.6 million. And construction costs are estimated at $25.9 million. The total estimated costs for both preferred sites is $36.7 million. The design phase is fully funded, and a consultant will be selected later this spring. Future phases of this project are contingent on FDOT's acceptance of the recommended alternative. The right-of-way acquisition phase is funded and is anticipated to begin in fiscal year 2020. The construction phase is also funded and is anticipated to begin after fiscal year 2020. The Florida Department of Transportation would like your comments on the preferred alternatives as well as the no-build alternative. In a few minutes, you'll have the opportunity to provide oral comments that will be transcribed by a court reporter. Also, you can submit written comments in the comment boxes this evening, or send them to FDOT's project manager, Stephen Andrews, later via U.S. mail or email. Please submit your comments by May 2nd, 2017, so we can complete our study documentation. Comments will be evaluated and, where feasible, may be incorporated into the conceptual design. The final determination will be submitted to FDOT's Office of Environmental Management for approval expected this summer. This public hearing was advertised and held consistent with federal and state requirements, and is conducted consistent with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. This hearing also fulfills the requirements of Executive Order 11998 pertaining to floodplain management and Executive Order 11990 pertaining to protection of wetlands, whereas the opportunity for public review and comment is offered for projects in wetlands and floodplains. The environmental review, consultation, and other actions required by applicable federal environmental laws for this project are being or have been carried out by the FDOT pursuant to 23 United States Code 327 and a Memorandum of Understanding dated December 14, 2016, and executed by the Federal Highway Administration and FDOT. Be sure to stay up to date on the project's progress, view this presentation, and review project materials by visiting our website at www.swflroads.com. Then click on Future Projects to find the Rest Area project under Charlotte County. All of the maps and documents on display at tonight's hearing are available for download under the Documents and Publications tab. Thank you for your interest in the I-75 Rest Area PD&E study and for taking time to participate in this public hearing.